President, please be seated. The court is now in session. Before giving the floor to the defense teams to put questions to the witness, the floor is first handed over to Judge Laverne to put a series of questions to the witness. You can take the floor now, Judge Laverne.
Thank you, Mr. President. Witness, I am Judge Laverne, and I have two series of questions to put to you very rapidly. The first is, I would like to know that when you were working in K5, that is Boraikela, were you the only member of your family working there, or did you also have a brother who was working with you over there?
Mr. President, only I worked at that K5. I was from my birth village alone without my family members. I was called to work at that location.
Well, I was putting this question to you because in your biography that we showed to you this morning, that's document E319/23.3.38.1, on the last page, that is to say English 00983490 and Khmer 00977436. At point 11, the following is mentioned, is said, Nong and Niet joined the military sector and were tasked with digging canals for Office K5. So, do you have a brother who was called Niet? What was the name of your older brother?
I was the eldest sibling. Nong Tun is deceased. My younger brother, I am the eldest. There was no one older than me in my family, I mean my siblings.
D'accord.
Fine, but before the death of your older brother, he was the eldest. And where was he? Did he work with you at K5 or not?
We did not work in the same office. I came alone. My younger brother had died in Lunol's time. I survived the Lunol's period and I came to work alone without my family members in company. I am the eldest sibling in my family.
Bien.
Fine. I would like to return as well to your situation as a Buddhist monk. Can you tell us exactly what you were told and why you had to defrock?
They said and forced me to disrobe. They said that the regime required no monks, and if monks disrobed, they would be given a pair of oxen. And during the ritual ceremony of defrocking monks, they had no achar or they had no celebration at the time. No matter whether or not we wanted to disrobe, we had to. We were told that we needed to go and farm rice to feed ourselves. How could I stay in the monkhood since all monks had been forced to disrobe? They wanted to destroy the evidence, and they wanted to abolish the religion at the time.
How many were you who were forced to disrobe at the same time?
Que vous avez
Did you all have to disrobe at the same time, or did this happen gradually? What happened?
បាទប្រសង់
Monks in my pagoda had all been defrocked on the same day. I cannot tell you how many of them were Nordic monks. In fact, people became monks before that time because they avoided to be mobilized into army. My mom told me to go to become a monk so that I would not be conscripted rather.
Who was present when you had to disrobe? Were there people in charge of administration? Were there district officials, sector officials? Were there militiamen? Were there armed people? What happened?
When I was forced to disrobe, Krasang Commune Committee defrocked me, Ta Som Ien. Initially there was only Tross Commune, but since there was a lot of the population increased, then the communes were divided into two, Tross and Sang. Yong was part of the committee of Tross, and another individual was part of the committee of Sang. So they were these two people that defrocked monks, the Sang and Tross.
est-ce qui
Were both of these people accompanied by armed militiamen?
Yes, they had guns to force monks to disrobe. These two individuals used to be monk, but later on they mistreated monks. These two people used to be the supreme monks, and they had been a monkhood for so long, but later on they became the commune chiefs, Ta Yong and Ta Som Iet, and they defrocked monks.
Do you know what happened to the other monks who were with you in the pagoda? Did you see them again later on? What happened to them?
បាទដល់ពេល
After they had been all defrocked, we were separated into different locations. Some went to live in some villages, and some other went to other villages. We separated from one another. Some went to their home villages, and I went to my birth village. There was no dispute at the time after all of us had been defrocked.
Témoin.
Fine, thank you very much, witness. I have no further questions to put to you.
President, and the chamber now gives the floor to the defense team for Mr. Nguyen Jie to put questions to the witness. You can take the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I said this morning, we have absolutely no idea why this witness has been called for this segment, so therefore we also have no questions.
President, and the defense team for Mr. Kieu Sampon, you may now proceed. Kung Samon, thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, the chamber. Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. Follow up to the question of Judge Lavange. You stated that you were defrocked. In document E3/319.23.3.38.1 in English 00983485. Let me quote. My parents told us to disrobe in order to join the revolution to liberate the beloved country. This information is taken from your biography. So can you tell the chamber about the discrepancy between the statement you made in the document and what you said here? Witness, Mr. President, I can tell you at the time, if we put in our biography that we were forcibly defrocked, then we would be in a dangerous situation. We put in the biography to avoid causing anger to them. In fact, I was telling you the real situation here. If I had put strong words in the biography at the time, I would have been killed. So using the word disrobe was so lenient. I did not use the word defrocked in my biography. Counsel, thank you. You lied to them, is that correct? Answer. If I had not lied to them, I would have died, Mr. President. I had to lie. Question. Concerning your position, you stated this morning that you were a cook when you were sent to K5. Let me ask a follow-up question. Besides cooking at K5, did you do other work? Answer. After my first arrival at K5, I was told to raise livestock, cattle, plant sugarcane, and clear the sugarcane plants. Later on, I was trusted. I was allowed to cook for guests. These were all my tasks. I had to cook a meal and dishes for the number of guests who came to be trained, as I told the President this morning. Counsel, thank you. Initially, you said that you worked at K5 for 3 months. Could you indicate for the chamber about the timeline, starting from the time when you became a cook, grow sugarcane, raise livestock, and then do other work. So could you inform the chamber about the timeline, and also how many of you were there in your unit? Answer. As I have told the chamber, first I raised chickens and ducks and took care of vegetables for a quite a period of months. Only until I was trusted was I allowed to cook. I was not allowed to cook meal immediately, only after I was trusted that I work as a cook. Counsel, let me interrupt you. I want you to tell about the chronological order or timeline. While you were raising livestock, were you still in K5 or you were in a different unit, in different K? Answer, I was still working in K5 in Borei while raising livestock. Counsel, thank you. Can you indicate the timeline for the chamber? When was that? And how many months were you working as a cook? And how many months did you spend time working, raising livestock? Did you have the same functions simultaneously? Answer, I had to divide my time planting sugarcane and feeding cattle and livestock. These tasks were my secondary tasks, and my main task was to cook meal and rice. Counsel, so it means that you did all these tasks simultaneously, but you had to divide your time doing these tasks. You did not have the specific schedule for doing those tasks. Answer, you are right, but I had to divide my time to do all those tasks. Counsel, concerning cooking, you indicated that there was a group of cooks and a group of people delivering and serving food and finding fish. Were all these groups under different chiefs, or were all of these groups under the same person, Ta Chamral? Answer, they were under different unit chiefs. Cooking unit and serving and delivering food units. Counsel, could you indicate their names, name of those different chiefs? Answer, I could only recall Mon. And beside that, I cannot tell you their names. Mon, Counsel Mon. So, which unit was he in charge of? Answer, transporting fish, vegetable, and meals. He was in charge of that. Question, he was the one who transport those items, or was he the chief of that group or unit? Answer, he was a driver, transporting logistics, food supplies, namely food supplies. As long as he got a call, he would transport those items. Question, you made mention about Ta Chamran. Who was your direct superior? Do you know the superior of Ta Chamran? What was his name? Answer, no, I do not know his superior's name. I did not dare to ask who Ta Jamran's superiors was. All I know is that Ta Jamran was in charge of Boracay premise. Question: did you know his daily function? I mean Ta Jamran daily function. Answer: he took control of Boracay premise. He took in control of staff members, including me. He had overall supervision at Boracay, responsible for all of us, including me. He was Boracay office chief. Counsel: thank you. When you prepared dishes, you indicated earlier that you had to taste meal or dishes. You also said that. Could you inform the chamber about the process of your cooking? You had to put the food in all plates first and then taste it. So what did you do for that job? Answer: after the rice was fully cooked and dishes were fully cooked, I was required to taste them before the dishes and rice were put on plates and bowls. And after that, the meals and food were arranged on the tables. Question: did you inform other about the taste of those dishes? Answer: they never asked or inquired me about the taste. They came right away and ate. Counsel: I want to ask you yourself, did you ever tell Ta Jamran or your supervisor about the taste of dishes that you cooked? Answer: I was never asked, and I needed not to tell them. I needed only to cook, to have a nice taste. I had to cook it nicely, and it was dependent on me. But before the dishes were served, I had to taste them first.
I realize this is nice tasting food, but about poisoning. Frankly, I don't quite get where the questions are going.
មិនមានព័ត៌មាន
Counsel: there is no information indicating about poisoning the food, but I believe there is an information indicating about testing the food, whether or not there is poison. And if Your Honor wants me to ask for clarification concerning the points, please let me know. Thank you, Mr. President, said counsel. Mr. Witness, let me continue my question. Mr. Witness, concerning the dishes you tasted, so how long after you tasted all those dishes that they they deliver all those dishes to the guests? After everything was cooked and after they knew that I tasted the dishes already, they would take meal to the eating hall. After it was cooked and after I tasted it, then they would deliver the dishes. Counsel. So could you inform the chamber about the dishes? What were they? The cabbage soup and cucumber soup mixed with pork, fish. Usually we had cabbage soup and morning glory soup with meat. But I myself did not know where the meat was taken from. I did not go to the place where I could collect meat such as beef and pork. I was in the kitchen having already those meats. Counsel, I have another question on the same topic. Did you feel frightened or afraid while tasting the food or dishes? Answer: every time I tasted the dishes, I was trembled. I was thinking that perhaps I wanted to be. They wanted to kill me. That's why I was told to taste all those dishes. They did not want guests die. That's why they wanted me to taste all those dishes. Counsel, why were you afraid because of testing all those dishes? Answer: I was afraid because I did not know if someone wanted to mistreat me, to kill me, and to smash me. I was continuously afraid that I wanted to be killed. I was in a frightening situation on a constant basis. Counsel, thank you. While you were working as a cook at K5 until the end, there wasn't any situation concerning poisoning food. Was that correct? No, there was no poisoning food for the guests. Counsel, regarding dishes, this morning you told the chamber already, but I am not quite I do not really quite understand your answers. You after you cooked and guests had dishes and meal, your group would then have time to eat. Did you eat only the leftover from the dishes of the guests, or was there a reserve dishes for you? Answer: the rice in the cooking pot was not eaten up by the guests, so I had to eat the rice in the cooking pot and also the soup and dishes in the cooking pot, and the leftover usually was kept for pigs. I did not eat the leftover food from guests.
Question. In reference to document E319/23.3.39, which is your written record of interview, question answer 26, you state the following, and I quote: at Boracay, the work conditions and food was typical. End of quote. So what I want to ask you is whether you're still standing by your previous statement. And sir, I cannot catch your full question. Counsel, allow me to repeat it. In your previous statement, that is the documents that I just mentioned, you said the work condition and food at Boracay, where you worked, was normal. And my question to you is that whether you still stand by your statement regarding the normal working condition and food. And regarding the serving the guest and the food, I do not support it. I did not have any belief in them, but I had to keep on living. Counsel interrupt. Witness, you spoke about the working conditions and the food at Boracay, that it was all normal. I mean, it's not that difficult for you. And are you still standing by that statement? And yes, I still stand by my statement because that's what happened. Thank you. Thank you, witness. And Mr. President, I conclude my session. President, thank you. And Mr. Witness, the Chamber is grateful of your testimony. It is now concluded, and your testimony may contribute to the ascertainment of truth in this case. You may now return to your residence or wherever you wish to go to, and the Chamber wishes you all the very best. Court officer, please work with Visu to make a transport arrangement for the witness to return to his residence or where he wishes to return to. And witness, you may now leave the courtroom. The Chamber will next hear statement, testimony of a civil party, that is through TCCP 235. And before we begin to hear testimony of the civil party, the Chamber notes that the civil party was interviewed in an ongoing investigation in a separate case, and the International Co-Investigating Judge placed the civil party in Group A among the three groups in his memorandum. Please refer to document E319/35. I request that for the purpose of maintaining confidentiality in this investigation, pseudonyms shall be used for this civil party. The Chamber deems this limited measure is legally appropriate in this case, and that this instruction shall take into account the balance between the need for public hearings and the integrity of the investigation. The Chamber also reminds the parties that they shall adhere strictly to its instruction in document E319/7 for the use of documents which have been disclosed from other cases. And court officer, please, as a civil party, through TCCP 235 into the courtroom. President, the Chamber would like to inform the parties and the public that the Chamber proceeds to hear testimony of the civil party in relations to the character of the accused. And Mr. Civil Party, based on the request by the International Court Investigating Judge, you shall only be referred to by a pseudonym, and your pseudonym is 2TCCP 235. And in the normal proceedings, the bench and the parties shall refer to you as a civil party only, and the Chamber does not allow the parties as well as judges of the bench to use your full name in this public proceeding. Court officer, please deliver this document for the witness to view it. And Counsel Copper, I notice you're on your feet. You have the floor.
Yes, Mr. President, very briefly. It might have been a translation issue, but I heard in English that you said that this civil party will testify as to the character of the accused. Is that what was said in Khmer, or is it the role of the accused? That is a difference.
Maybe I'm not mistaken, because I read from the script, it's about the role of the accused. There could be a slip. President, Mr. Civil Party, please look at the identity in the documents that I provided to you with the Khmer EIN 01043414, English 01055683, and there is no French translation. Please refer to the orange highlight section concerning your full name, place of birth, date of birth, nationality, occupation, the names of your parents and wife, as well as the number of your children, and please inform the Chamber whether the information is correct. And please simply say it is correct or incorrect, and you should not confirm the details of the information. So please review the orange highlight section and inform the Chamber whether it is correct. Answer yes, it is correct. President, thank you. And Mr. Civil Party, you are called to testify before this Chamber as a civil party, and for that reason, not for the conclusion of your testimony, you will have an opportunity to make an impact statement in relation to harms you suffered during Democratic Cambodia, if you wish to do so. And the Chamber shall remind you again about the conclusion of your testimony. And pursuant to Rule 91 bis of the ECCC internal rules, the Chamber gives the floor first to the lead co-lawyers for civil parties to question the civil party before others. And the combined time for the co-prosecutors and the lead co-lawyers through court sessions. You may proceed. Good afternoon, Mr. President, judges. We, the lead co-lawyer, would like to request your permission to assign a lawyer for civil party to put questions to this civil party. And I'd like to also take this opportunity to inform the bench that the civil party may need to visit the restroom often. President, thank you for the information. And civil party, if you need to visit the restroom, please do not hesitate and signal the chamber so that we can allow you to go straight away. And your request is granted. And lawyer for civil party, Van Per, you have the floor. Van Per, thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, judges, and good afternoon, everyone. And good afternoon, Mr. Civil Party. I am a lawyer for civil party, as I am also your lawyer, and I have some questions to put to you in relation to your experience through Democratic Cambodia. My first question is the following. Prior to 17 April 1975, where did you live and what were you doing? Answer. Good afternoon to the court and good afternoon, counsel. In 1970, I ordained as a monk at Trap Pagoda. Which was located in Old Rumchek village, Mrom commune, Banti Mih district, Kampot province. And the pagoda was located in a contested area between the Lonal regime and the revolutionary Angka movement. Question. So you was a monk. How long did you remain as a monk, or was there anything that happened to you? President, Civil Party, please observe the microphone. You should speak only when you see the red light on the tip of the microphone, so that your voice would go through the system. In particular, will go through the interpretation channel, and that it will be simultaneously interpreted into other languages. Civil Party. In 1971, the militia group of the revolutionary Angka forced us to disrobe. I was then drafted to work for revolutionary Angka. Question. When they disrobed you, can you tell the chamber how old you were? Answer. I was about 15 years old. Question. When you were disrobed in the pagoda, was you the only one who was disrobed, or were all monks in the pagoda disrobed? And if so, how many monks altogether? Answer. All monks were disrobed, and not only monks in that pagoda, monks in other pagodas were also disrobed by this militia group. Question. After they disrobed you, were you drafted into an army? And if so, could you identify the military units that you was assigned to? Answer. Yes, I recall that. At the time, I was sent to be located between National Road number 4 and 5 Battlefield. I was in Division 1, Regiment 16, Battalion 180. Question. When you refer to Division 1, which zone or sector was that Division 1 in? President, please observe the microphone, civil party. Answer. At that time, Division 1 was newly established. I only know it was biased between National Road number 4 and number 5. That was the operational area. But I do not know whether it was in the northwest or southwest zone. Question. Regarding your units that were stationed in between National Road number 4 and number 5, on the day of the liberation of 17 April 1975, did you participate in the attack on Phnom Penh? President, please observe the microphone. Answer. In late 1974, Angka provided us with military training in order to attack and to seize the Phnom Penh. Question. In relation to the event of 17 April 1975, did you participate from any spearhead or direction in the attack on Phnom Penh? Answer. Our spearhead on 17 April 1975 was to be based at the Po Jintong area. Question. On the day Phnom Penh was attacked, what was your position in the army? President, please observe the microphone. Answer. I was chief of a special group for intelligence gathering attached to Battalion 180. Question. In relation to the very day of 17 April 1975, that is the Liberation Day, when you came through Po Jintong area, what did you observe? Answer. During the attack on Phnom Penh on 17 April 75, I reached Po Jintong area at around 6:30 in the morning. The Lunar armed forces in the aviation, as well as female soldiers, prepare some flowers in order to greet us. By about between 9 to 10 o'clock that morning, the division commander arrived, including Tamok, Simet, arrived, and they issued various orders. At that time, I was not there, since I was looking for my relatives so that they could move away from the area. Question: did you observe any special events that was unfolded at Puketong Airport? That is, for those Lunar soldiers who were there with flowers to greet you. President, please observe the microphone. Answer: when we entered Puketong, we saw women who had flowers in order to greet us, to celebrate the victory, with the army of the revolutionary Angkar. However, some people within the army were mean. They some beat up those women, or some took the flowers or grabbed the flowers from them and threw them away. As for me, it was very difficult to say anything, because at that time Lunar soldiers had wine and food for us soldiers to drink, and those Lunar military pilots were ordered to gather in one place in order to greet Angkar. That's what initially happened. Questioned: and what happened next to those Lunar soldiers who were ordered to be gathered in one place in order to receive the Angkar? Answer: when Tamok and Tamet and Tamut arrived, they organized GMC vehicles to have them boarded those vehicles in order to go and meet Angkar. There were men and women who boarded the vehicles, and I told some of them not to go, and that they should not believe them, otherwise they would be killed. Some of them believed me and did not go, while others went. And the vehicles, there were 4 or 5 of them, which were fully packed, were driving toward the west direction, and I did not know where they were heading to. Question: a while ago you said that when you arrived at Puketong, you were trying to look for your relatives. Can you tell the chamber who your relatives were and whether they worked at the Puketong airport? Answer: thank you, Counsel, for reminding me about that. I spoke about the Lunar soldiers. I had an elder brother who was a helicopter pilot, and it was a military pilot. I was trying to look for him. There were a few of his friends that I found, and I told his friends to take off their uniforms, and if they were asked questioned, they should say that they only worked there, and then I said you should change your uniforms to normal clothes, and then I could take them away out of the airport. So they took off their uniforms and they wore civilian clothes, and I took them outside so that they should go to their native villages. And I told them if they were asked, then they should say that they were simply workers. I also told other people there, but they did not believe what I said. And then they boarded their vehicles and they disappeared. Question. After 17 April 1975, how long did you remain living in Phnom Penh? And what happens to you and to your military unit? President, please observe the microphone. Answer. On about 30 April 1975, my battalion 180 was sent by Angkar to Kampong Saum. Question. Was it around 30 April 1975 when your entire unit was sent to Kampong Saum? Am I correct? And when you arrived at Kampong Saum, did you remain working as a soldier? President, Council, the civil party does not answer your initial question yet, and you seem to answer your own question. Let the civil party first answer your first question. And lawyer, please repeat your first question. You should allow the civil party to speak into the microphone so that everybody can hear it. Civil party lawyer, Mr. Civil Party asked me to let me repeat my question. When were you sent to Kampong Saum? Answer, as I said, it was around 30 April when we were sent to Kampong Saum town. Why a vehicle is a GMC truck? Question. Does it mean that your battalion 180, that is the entire battalion soldiers, were sent to that location? Yes, one battalion was sent there, and there were about 400 to 500 soldiers. Question. What were you assigned to do when you arrived in Kampong Saum along with members of your battalion? Answer. When we arrived, our battalion 180 was demobilized by Angkar. Some of the soldiers, including myself, were sent to the Navy, while others were sent elsewhere, and I did not know about them. Question. You said you were sent to the Navy. Were you sent to be based at a specific port or at an island? Answer. We were sent to be part of a Navy, and we were always in the sea on a big ship. We were there to protect the maritime border and to seize those who try to fish in our territorial water, including some Thai soldiers and fishermen. There were continuous clashes between these people, and I was there for 4 to 5 months. Question. And what happened next after the 5 months periods that you was with the Navy? Answer. At the time, we were communicated via a radio requesting me to attend a meeting at the Kosnak or Sdak Island. And when I arrived, with a messenger. Then they pointed a gun at us. I fought back. They actually cocked the gun, but I failed in my attempt since there were many of them. Then they caught me. They handcuffed me, and my messenger was chased away, questioned. So you were called to go to Kosdak, and then you were arrested. And did you know who actually arrested you, and what happens to you next?
President, please observe the microphone, Mr. Civil Party. Civil Party, not only I was arrested, the other 9 were also under the arrest. They were put on a big ship with the electrical equipment to shock us. We were accused of being infiltrated enemies. I was the last one to receive electrical shock. I was questioned, but I protested and rejected the accusation. I told them that I respect Angkar. Since the beginning, I never counter Angkar. I observed later on 3 of us, including me, were released, and the others were put in the bottom of the boat, and some other were sent to engage in hard labor in Kok Kong in a canfish factory. There were many others who were soldiers. They were sent and detained at the location. They were forced to build a road, bridge, and there was Ron, the secretary of a sector, and Ron's protection unit at the time guarded us. We were not given with sufficient food to eat, and from time to time some of us were removed and disappeared. First, there were around 40 of us, and later on, only about a little bit more than 10 of us remained at that location. Council, you were sent to Kok Kong and you were engaged in hard labor. How many months were you working at that location, Kok Kong? Answer, 12 or 13 months. For that period of 12 or 13 months. Question: what had happened to you afterwards? Did you remain living in Kok Kong? Answer: there was a messenger of Sector 11 coming to call me, and another individual who is now surviving. His name In fact, he is deceased. His name is Janta. The messenger asked us to salute and to repeat the slogan that 3 cans for us to eat. Some of my friends, my close friends, were afraid and were very concerned after seeing that some others had been sent away. Then, in mid-1977, there was a messenger from a sector coming to call out my name. At the time, I did not use the name U Dao. I concealed my real name and I instead used the name Om Siu, rather. And my name was called Suen, Bong, Koshu. I and then was sent to by a boat, a motorboat, from the inner sea to Tropang Rung. I was then made to walk with the guards with me. I was thinking that I would die. In fact, there were 2 of us, another person and me. We were walked to Ondong Tek. We were walked from Tropang Rung up to Ondong Tek, where there were people, where they were living, and we were told to rest there. We took rest close to a temple where there were people who had their legs shackled. I sneaked to look at the temple and see that people had been shackled. The messenger of the sector came to see me and brought rice to me to eat, and I was detained there until the next morning. Counsel, and what happened to you the next morning? Answer. At around 7 or 8 a.m., the announcement was made over a loudspeaker. The announcement was that combatants, parties invite all of you to come here and board a big ship, a very, very big ship. Which could house 100 or 200 passengers. There were 3 big ships. Then I was told to board that ship. Question: where were you heading to after you had been asked to board that ship? Answer: the ship was heading to Srai Ambal or Salt Field. The ship reached Srai Ambal in the afternoon, and at Srai Ambal there was GMC and Chinese trucks there to transport us further to other locations. Counsel, you were sent to Wheel Ring, and were there many people sent to Wheel Ring? And after Wheel Ring, where were all of you sent to? Answer. We spent one night at Ring, and at around 8 or 9, the announcement was again made over the loudspeaker. Comrades, you are all party members. Comrades and combatants, who are invited to come here by the party, please go to board the trains. We were told to board the trains. Board a train, rather. Question. And where did you go afterwards? President, please hold on, Mr. Civil Party, and you may now proceed. Copper.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I suppose I need clarification from the chamber. Not one question so far has been about the role of the accused. Questions have been about the evacuation, which is part of 2.1. Questions about whatever happened in Kokong is outside the scope. Apparently, at one point in time, the civil party lead co-lawyer selected this witness for the segment role of the accused. The chamber subsequently selected this witness. I have seen his testimony. I don't think anything relevant is coming in respect of the role of Nguyen Chia or Khieu Samphan. So again, my question is, why is this person testifying, and is this seventh category, the role of the accused, some leftover category, or what's the purpose of this witness for this segment?
Mr. President, I second the objection by Council Copper. Mr. President has repeatedly made mention that, particularly this morning, the facts which are out of the scope can be asked, but they have to relate to policy. However, the questions put by civil party lawyer were not related to the role of the accused, but related to the locations. So they are not really relevant, Mr. President. Thank you. Lawyer, we are approaching close to the relevant question in relation to the accused. Please be patient. President, yes, but they are really not close to the facts. And the question should be asked about the injuries and damage to the civil party. Such questions are allowed because as far as we are concerned, the participation of civil party here is in a broad sense and is about the suffering and injury and damage. But the chamber has scheduled specifically witnesses and civil parties to come and testify on the scope of the facts, particularly the role of the accused. So please put the questions which reflects the relevant facts, and other facts are supplementary. Some questions can be asked. Those supplementary questions can be asked to reflect the suffering and damage of the civil party. Such questions are appropriate. The chamber is kind to allow supplementary questions, particularly about the policy question in relation to policy have been heard on many occasions. Several questions about the supplementary facts are sufficient.
Bonjour, Monsieur.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. A small observation coming from us because we heard from the defense something that does not seem to correspond to the questions that were put to the civil party. Council Copper says that the questions were put on the evacuation. That is not true. Questions were put on the arrest of Lon Nol soldiers at Pochentong. And furthermore, thank you for your decision. Indeed, there is a testimony from a civil party that for the moment provides lots of elements of context, and later on we'll be able to shed light on the role of Nunchea and also on what happened in Krang Tachang. So all of these questions do indeed seem relevant to me.
President, but you put a lot of questions which are far beyond the main facts decided by the Chamber. The Chamber has clearly decided on the main facts for adjudication. The information has been informed to the parties, and I have repeatedly informed all parties so that main facts are focused. Council, Mr. Civil Party, please indicate for the chamber after you were sent on train to somewhere else, what happened to you and what kind of incidents did you witness? Answer. While I was being transported by a train, I arrived in Phnom Penh almost at midnight, at around 10 p.m. There were around 1,000 of us on the train. We were sent to Borei Kaila. There were buildings where we could sleep in. Question. Upon your arrival at Borei Kaila, how many days did you spend there? What kind of incidents did you encounter? President, please observe the microphone. Answer. I spent 2 nights there. We spent the first night, we spent only half night for the first day there, and then a film was shown to us. The film was about the war, the fighting between China and Japan, and that film was shown on the second day, and on the third day we were told to go and have rice, and then we were told to line up. During the time when we were being lined up, there were Tam Mok, Son Sen, and Nuon Chia. They came to convince all of us. Question. You stated that you saw Tam Mok, Son Sen, and Nuon Chia. How did you know that they were these people, Son Sen, Nuon Chia, and Tam Mok? President, please observe the microphone, Mr. Witness. Mr. Civil Party Rata. Civil Party. I knew them very well, Mr. Nuon Chia, and as for Tam Mok, I was close to him. I stayed close to him. And as for Nguyen Chia, he stayed close to Tamok since the beginning. I knew at the time he was Nguyen Chia because I got injured in 1973 and I was sentenced to a hospital in Krang Loville Forest, which was located between Aoral and Om Liang. At that hospital, I was hospitalized at that hospital, and after a while I got recovered, and I saw Tamok and Nguyen Chia who came to visit the patients, the injured people. I, at the time, while I was at hospital, did not know that they were Tamok and Nguyen Chia, but I asked a messenger of Tamok, who is Tamok? That messenger who knew me said, that is brother number 2. He is the Deputy Secretary of the Communist Party of Cambodia. The messenger said, he is Chia. The messenger did not say the full name Nguyen Chia, but Chia. From that time onward, I recognized him. Counsel, thank you. You stated that you saw those people while you were being lined up. Did they speak? And what did they talk about? Answer. Son Sen, Tamok, and Nguyen Chia, these 3 leaders, and as for Nguyen Chia, who was in charge of military, he spoke and gave encouragement to almost 1,000 soldiers, including me at the time. Question: did you recall what he said to the combatants who were almost 1,000? Answer: I could recall some, but not all. I could recall the main parts of his speech. He convinced all of us that comrades and and the party's beloved combatants, you have engaged in the war against the American imperialists and its puppets. You have fought for the victory of 17 April 1975 for our revolutionary party. This is well known across the globe. But as of now, contemptible UN enemies do not abandon their ambition to annex Cambodia into Indochina. They bring a number of divisions in, and they send spy agents into our democratic Cambodia and into our army. It is our very courageous soldiers who have fought against those spy agents. Our party believes in all of you, comrades. We absolutely prevent the UN enemies to invade our country. Council, thank you. President, now it is time for break. The chamber will take break from now on until 3:05. Until 3:15. Court officer, please assist the civil party in the waiting room during the break time, and please return him into the courtroom.